Okay, so SR Fitness 365 podcast, episode 5 with Danny Barker. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm
Thanks
very well, mate.
thanks
I'm
for
very
letting me
well.
join you.
You're welcome, mate. And this is going to be an easy one for me because obviously we go way back. So I'll try keep it relatively short because I know we can chat for hours. You got your little banner. You're promoting already.
Yeah, straight in, mate. Got to get in. It's been up there since March last year, buddy.
I know. Obviously, we'll touch on lockdown because I know it's been a big thing for both of us, and we've got a lot of things in common on that front. So I think best thing for me to do is introduce you in terms of how I know you. So okay. I'm trying to get dates here, but it must be 5 years ago. I'm going to go.
Yeah, I think you were right with 2015, 2016, because it was just as I was moving into self-employed from employed at Vivacity.
Yeah. So long story short, this was the time that I moved away from fitness and started doing like my recruitment office stuff in Peterborough, about half hour from my house. And I was using the local gym, which you were PTing at. And at the time I was just smashing biscuits and living the office life. And I need as much as I knew how to train and stuff. And funny enough, I was just talking about this to a client. It's about like adherence. And I just thought, I'm just going to take one less pressure off myself with trying to do all my training and dieting and all that, and just give it to someone else and pay you. And from the PTs were there, like obviously you just shone because I could see that you were dedicated to your clients, which is something that I've seen obviously over the years as well. But I could see it just being on the gym floor. So reached out to you, and obviously we started our kind of working relationship, and then built a friendship as well, which is great. And obviously you joined me on my 100k steps challenge that we did last year, didn't we, around Rutland?
Built you off. Definitely.
That was madness, honestly. We'll get into that. But what about you then? So what kind of got you into the fitness game?
Well, even from a kid, like from 7, 8 years old, I was obviously playing football. The ambition of being a footballer, like every kid's dream, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that was all my focus.
If I didn't get injured.
Sorry?
I would have made it if I didn't get injured.
Exactly. We all say that, mate. We all say that. Well, I was lucky enough to play for Nottingham Forest when I was a kid in the academy, and then moved over to Peterborough United when I was 14. Probably the biggest mistake in terms of moving, to be fair, because a year later Peterborough stopped their youth development system and ended up closing their academy for a little bit. So I got released at 15, not really knowing what I was doing. Ended up going to Leicester College doing a sports diploma, national diploma in sport and football exercise science. So I was playing in the National League as well as obviously doing my studies for sport. Yeah. And then just trying to stay in and trying to get to the non-league scene, really. But it was just more luck than judgment of focusing on America, and was aiming for a scholarship. So I ended up going into a scholarship program, got accepted to about 7 universities in America. And then that's when obviously the opportunity to Brazil came in. So I don't know whether you want me to speak about that now or
jump on
go into that.
Yeah, so that's one of like a lot of youngsters, myself included, like you go to college and you do that side of things, the sports side, and then all the opportunities arise that you could potentially go to America. By this time I was like 19 stone, mate, so that was never an opportunity for me. All of my mates were doing the football side of things, but sometimes it sounds more hypey than what it actually is. The amount of people that get offers but then actually still are in football 5, 6 years down the line are rare, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it is about that consistency and that persistence. Because you tell people about what I've done and they think, oh, I live this massive lifestyle. It was tough, man. It was really tough. And the journey, just like for anybody, is only like 1% of kids that actually make it pro.
So how did Brazil come about?
Well, I was playing for a non-league side. I was only 16, 17. No, well, I'd been 17 at the time. And there was a Brazilian that played. He was local to Stamford, Peterborough area. And it was a Brazilian that played. And well, let me rewind back just a little bit. I went to America when I was 18 and did the sports camp kind of thing. And that's when I was looking at universities. So then my main focus was university in America. I got accepted to university. I was ready to start the process. And then I ended up playing must have been a pre-season game or the start near the beginning of the season. And I scored a hat-trick before half-time. And this Brazilian came up to me at half-time. He was in that team. He was a good guy. And he just said, I want to send you to Brazil. And like, I just laughed. I laughed it off. And I
Yeah.
was just like, God, there's no way that's happening. He was like, no, I'm serious. I've got a team out there with some contacts, and I want to send you out for a month just for a bit of experience. So obviously I still laughed it off, told the parents, they laughed as well, and was just like, this is not happening. You don't know Portuguese. Brazil was like one of the most dangerous places in the world.
Yeah.
You ain't going. And every few weeks he'd just pester and say, look, I'm deadly serious here. And he brought, he said, can I come and speak to your parents? So we invited him round for some dinner, and he showed us the portfolio of the club and said, look, all you need to do is pay for your flight. I'll sort everything else out. I want you to do this. I think you've got great potential. So we were just like, right, sod it. I'm never going to get this opportunity again.
Yeah, definitely.
My parents have been so supportive throughout. No matter what I've done or where I've been in the world, they've always supported me. Even though, obviously, just like any mum, they're sad about seeing their child venture off on their own.
I don't know about all mums. When I did my seasons when I was a kid, my mum kicked me out the door, mate. She threw me on the bus.
She's like, get out.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I went for a month. It was really tough. I didn't know any Portuguese. All the lads were like sound, they were good, but only 2 of them spoke English. And I was thinking that I've made a massive bad decision here. Like, I don't fit in. I feel out of my depth. They were just quality footballers. Started to blend in a little bit, and during about my 3rd week, we ended up playing against a professional side, and I ended up scoring another hat-trick against this professional side for just this like friendly.
Yeah.
The manager then came to our manager after the game and said, we want to sign him. And that was it. Like, literally within the space of just a friendly. I had to then go to the federal police and the embassy and change my visa, and I was offered a 2-year contract.
Right.
So then I moved to another city, which was about 4 hours away, to this club that we played against, players' accommodation. So instead of being there for a month, I ended up being there for the first period was a year. And then you have to change your visa and then go back. But yeah, it was a whirlwind. It was luck, obviously, with the fact of the team I played, how I played that game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I ended up moving to Sao Paulo, a city in Sao Paulo, and was there for a couple of years and on and off with different teams, because their contracts work differently over there, mainly probably due to corruption and money. They only last for about a year at a time, 2 years at a time.
Sure.
So that then they can move you on. And because I was English, they were just jumping on the chance of basically saying, oh, he's English, we're going to make some money out of him, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's a decent story, mate, to be fair. Not a lot of people have stories like that they can tell. That'll be something
Yeah, it's a bit crazy
when you get older, buddy. That's mad. They had like an undercover like Brazilian scout in your team or something.
It was mad.
But no, that obviously ties me on. So again, obviously I know your story from knowing you, and we chatted about it when we were passing time for them 8 hours that we walked around Rutland. But
yeah, charity.
Got into a few kind of business opportunities, didn't you, out there? Was that one of the things that brought you home, or?
Well, during my 4th year, it was actually the English embassy over here, the Brazilian embassy. They did a mistake in my visa. So instead of for a year, they only did it for 6 months. But I'd already been there 9 months. So technically I was 3 months illegal. So I couldn't sign the new contract. Mm-hmm. So within the space of about 3 weeks, I was playing in front of 10,000 people in Brazil, to then working out in a factory in Oakham and being deported out of the country. Because it was actually my 21st birthday. It was the 21st birthday. I was in the federal police in Sao Paulo, and they told me I had 8 days to leave the country, otherwise I'd be deported. And then it all happened from there. Obviously, the team that wanted to sign me and give me this contract ended up signing someone else because I missed the transfer deadline.
Yeah. And
then everything just fell into place, probably the wrong way, of just opportunity. That opportunity went. I came home. I wrote to about 60 Premier League clubs and League One, League Two, non-league, and only about 4 even bothered responding. So it was just really tough to try and even get an opportunity in England.
Yeah.
Ended up getting offered a trial for MK Dons when Roberto Di Matteo was manager.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, he got the West Brom job. So Paul Ince came in and didn't want any trialists, so my month trial got cancelled. And it was just different things at different times that ended up making me fall into place of not necessarily having an opportunity. And anyone I did have, it was a tough one to continue with.
Yeah, definitely. So was there a point where you kind of had to look at it like you're past 21 now, not at a club? Is it a point of maybe, as harsh as it sounds, like it's not going to happen. I need to
Yeah,
now look at
definitely.
a different career kind of thing.
I mean, I knew I wanted to. I mean, I was playing semi-pro in the Conference North for Hinckley United, and my parents don't drive, so and because of being in Brazil and America, I didn't start driving until I was 21 anyway. So it was me trying to get from Oakham to Hinckley. I was doing trains, taxis, like I was doing anything I could to try and get to training, and it was just draining. And ended up playing there, but ended up getting another injury, and it was more a case of I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm not going to reach the heights of what I want for my career, but I love fitness so much. And that's when it must have been 2011, 2012, when I started my PT course and thought, this is what I'm going to do. Because I was working in a factory in Oakham just to earn some money as well. Yeah. And I was just like, I don't want to be doing this for the rest of my life. I love fitness too much.
Yeah.
So I got into, did my PT course.
It's only recently that you're pretty much like full-time, even at conference now, aren't you? But at that point, you just literally, you had to have another job, didn't you, to even be able to pay for the trains, the taxis, to even get to training.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the money I was on for back then was good, but it wasn't even about the money. It was the fact of playing away at Gateshead on a Tuesday night and getting back at 3 a.m. and then have to be up at 6 for work. Like, it's just the same as what non-league players probably do now, you know. Like, I speak to no end of non-league players who are just, they love football so much, but people worry about the fact they chase money. But in this life now, you've got to, because it's got to link in with your family and your ties and your commitments with a mortgage and a house, and as well as trying to, you know, put food on the table.
100%. So you obviously qualified as a trainer, and did you go straight onto gym floor?
So I did the course back in 2012. Yeah. So then I was still working at Land's End, and then I thought, I actually just took another risk, took another jump. And my family are from Manchester, my dad's side. And there was this opportunity up right in the centre of Manchester at the Virgin Active, right near the Print Works. It's now in the Field Health, I think. And I just went up there. I was visiting some family, and I went in and just said, right, what's your PT process here? And I had a chat with the manager, Matt. And he said, this, blah, blah, blah. We're actually recruiting, so feel free to have an interview. And I've got past 45 different people to get this job. Right in the centre of Manchester. I've thrown in at the deep end. I've never worked in a gym before, so it was literally like I'd done my level 2 and my level 3, and just went straight into it. Just because I knew I loved fitness, I knew what I was talking about, but then how do I approach it onto clients?
What was it? And what was it like that first, like, approaching someone on the gym floor that you've never met before?
Weird. Like, I tried to make it so much more of a conversation than an actual salesman. But I made, obviously, just like everybody, I made so many mistakes. Like, the way the Virgin work, it was a pyramid system anyway, which wasn't necessarily ideal. But they kind of, if you didn't talk to people and didn't get clients, you didn't get paid. It was as simple as that. So near the beginning, I was probably too keen. I read a thing and a bit of a video from James Smith, and he was saying about how people hated him because he was just so busy. And so you like talking to everybody and anybody. And then I was speaking to other PT's clients, and they were like, if you speak to them again, like, you're treading on my toes kind of thing. But I just didn't know. I just wanted to speak to anybody. And probably giving away too much for free at the beginning, like just trying to sell myself, like being taken advantage of, literally just to try and get noticed. But it was more a case of trying to get that confidence. I had confidence in myself, but to talk to other people was always a bit of a challenge. So it was just literally thrown into the deep end. Same as this video situation. I'd never done a live feed before March last year until COVID. And I just thought, right, I've got to do it. And I did it, hated every second of it. And then I've done about 300 since.
I was going to say, it moves on quite nicely to COVID, doesn't it? Because, like you say, we were chucked 100% straight in the deep end. To a degree, there wasn't any warning. I didn't even know how to go live on Instagram, let alone like workouts and stuff like that. So we went from, you know, everything being face-to-face to then like no face-to-face contact. And the only way you could, let's be honest, the only way you could earn money was going online. And it was either, I mentioned this to one of the other lads on a podcast, you either sink or swim. You kind of can either just bury your head in the sand and go, right, that's it then, I've got no income, you know, go do deliveries for Tesco's, or you can carry on doing what
I know a few people that have done that.
Exactly, yeah. And that's not me slating them, just going like there wasn't many other options. Because if you go down that route just to be able to pay your bills, or you still try find a way of servicing your clients and continuing your business. Because to be fair, mate, I had a night, I was like head in my hands, mate. When Boris came on, I remember it like it was yesterday. He came on at 8 p.m. and he just said, like, that's it, national lockdown, bosh. And I was like, fuck, like, I've worked so hard for 18 months to build a business to then I've got to go find a job now. So obviously for you then, because you were mainly one-to-one and then you did your boot camp on the Saturday, didn't you?
Yeah, so my boot camps were really more a case of Escape Your Limits, the one you came to that time. So I was paying a little bit of rent to them and then using their facility, which is great facility and great equipment. But then I'd also bought my own section of equipment, mainly because of going into the retreats eventually, which we'll talk about. But my main ambition was just doing these hour little boot camps, getting people together. I love the class environment type of thing. But my main business was my one-to-one. So that just went literally shot probably 60% down over the year. But then it's just like you say, it's just trying to be adaptable and doing Zoom PTs, which I don't necessarily feel comfortable, feel as if I'm giving the best service to my clients, but you've got to do what you can do. And at the end of the day, they're really appreciating it for their own mental health of just keeping going if they're working from home or just that hour's escape. Yeah,
100%. So tell us a couple of stories of being online then. What's happened to you? Good and bad.
If I was to look back from the beginning, like it seems as if I have my own little process, which is probably a bit of OCD and probably a bit of nerves. I switch the camera on, go and grab a drink, open the window, and I'm trying to talk at the same time. For the first couple I did, when you go live, I didn't realise anybody could see you until they came on. So I was there just sat there staring at a screen for about 30 seconds. So when I posted the live, I was just sitting there staring. I had not the faintest idea. And then as soon as people start coming on, you think they can see you, so you're communicating, but you don't realise you're going live to the rest of people when you post the video.
Watch back, isn't it?
I've had obviously people knock at the door, ring the doorbell. My nieces have not banged on the door. Like, you just adapt. You just obviously trying to use, the space I'm in at the moment is my living room. Like, I'm literally move everything out of the way, so all the sofas are out of the way, and I'm doing it. And my parents have been great. Like, moving back home with my parents a couple of years ago, after a rocky relationship, like they've been great. Like, for this year of me taking over the house just for my business has been ideal.
Amazing. Yeah, I've had some shockers, mate. Like music. Don't even get me started on music.
Oh no, mate, it's horrible. Even ones that are fine, and then suddenly a few months later they'll say your video you posted back in May is music license, and yet I use all music license free music, all copyright free. And then when you put a dispute in, they say, "Oh yeah, you're right." It's like they're just trying to stop you. I don't even know what they're trying to do, but it's so frustrating.
I got so frustrated this one time, it literally muted my whole video, and it said you've basically got to contact the music provider like Sony to ask if you have permission. I was like, what am I do? Call Kanye up and go, do you mind if I use a couple of your tracks, lad? Like, it's just not possible. So I'm the same as you now. Like, I pay for the license free stuff and it's garbage, but it's the only way you can. I think someone said something I think it's Joe Wicks or something. He listens to his own music, tells everyone else to listen to their own music, and then does it with no music. It's just garbage. Like, it can't.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. Luckily I've found some pretty good playlists. I'll have to forward them onto you, especially for drum and bass and hit stuff and whatever. And they've seemed to work really well since. And I even had, you saw a couple of weeks ago, I had a DJ do a live one, which worked well. And then I spoke to a few other DJs and mainstream bands, High Contrast, things like that. And they let me use their album. But it's just been literally pulling Spotify and pulling the best ones I can and hoping I don't get logged off.
Yeah, 100%. I've had that a few times. I've completed whole workouts, and then at the cool down stage, cancelled it. Just literally cut.
Well, I remember you telling me there was one where you'd done a full workout for people, but you forgot to press record. so you had to do it again.
Oh, mate, yeah, it's killing me.
You've done a 45-minute workout and you said I didn't press record.
I'm not even joking. It was probably one of the hardest workouts I've ever created as well.
I remember.
I didn't press record because I don't know why. And it took me till the second lockdown to realize that you can actually have the camera facing you. I used to set up the camera and then go behind it.
Oh no, yeah, I just flip it. That's why
I've done it
the wrong way around.
Yeah, so I flip it now as well. But before then, so I'd start the video, prop it, and then go behind the camera. And like I say, I did the whole workout, 45 minutes. I think I remember looking at my watch, it was like 600 calories burnt or something stupid. And I was like, right, thanks very much, guys. Hope you enjoy it. I pressed to stop record, and I've pressed record. And I kid you not, I weren't the most popular person in the house because I booted the wall, made a massive hole in it. Like I was so livid, but
you're a broken man.
No such thing as a bad workout. But yeah, basically I had to repeat it all like about 6 hours later. I had to do it all again. It was a nightmare.
Did you hit the same calories?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think because I was still annoyed, so I kind of used that like tunnel aggression to get a workout out of it. But yeah, I weren't best pleased, put it that way. So moving on to kind of like your branding and the idea behind that. So Fitness Escapes. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so I had a connection with obviously Escape Fitness, which is the equipment company. And based in Peterborough, and obviously they've got their Escape Your Limits, and mainly the fact of I just knew that there was no licensing or no copyright legislations on using Fitness Escapes. Had a few different ideas, but mainly because for me, fitness is an escape. Even if it's just an hour's workout, I forget about everything else. And for me, doing it as the retreat section, which we'll come on to, of getting people to come and literally escape for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, whatever it is. And not necessarily just for fitness. It's not a weight loss boot camp. It is more a case of well-being and just saying, look, I've got a busy lifestyle down in London or whatever. I need an escape. Or I've got, hectic family life, this, that, the other. And a just way of just escaping and coming to idyllic locations across the UK. Obviously, you've been to Rutland Water to do your walk. You know how great it is there. And it doesn't even feel like you're just around the corner either from Peterborough, from Cambridgeshire. And using fitness as escape for me was similar effect to what football did for me. Like, just took me away from any issues, any problems. And that's what fitness does for me. I just like to not push that, but encourage other people of how important exercise is. It's the biggest stress relief.
100%. I completely agree with that. And I think, like you said, especially over the last 12 months, people have come to realize that I don't know anyone, including myself, that's ever completed a workout. Obviously, you're absolutely knackered, but never completed a workout or been on a walk or done a run and gone, I feel worse mentally because of it. Do you know what I mean? So, and definitely, us coaches can echo that as much as we can, but until physically people go and do this or have a workout or go for a walk, they then agree with us at the end of it, but it's pushing them to start with that. But yeah, just touching on your escapes and stuff, I think it's a cracking idea. And obviously it's crap that COVID's happened because you'd be a couple down the line now, wouldn't you?
I was 2 weeks away from my first one, and then the lockdown happened back in March.
So give us a quick overview of what would happen then.
So you can see all these, especially on Instagram now, you see all the escapes to Ibiza and Marrakesh and where people just come for fitness. And some people will do like a weigh-in and then they'll beast them for a few days and then weigh them at the end. For me, it's not about that. It's literally like, I want you to come and then feel better when you leave. You can choose to do all the activities. You've paid for the activities, but you can choose to do them or not. You can stay in your cabin or your hotel room. You can go for a walk around the scenery. All the places I've chosen around the UK are idyllic, like Rutland Water. Then you've got the peaks, you've got the Cairngorms in Scotland. You've got just a great location to just get away. So there's no city locations really. It's all based around either coastal or into like a nature reserve or forestry or things like that. And if you imagine for what people pay to go to Centre Parks, for example, for just the accommodation, for me, you get the accommodation, the nutrition, the food, as well as obviously all the exercises and activities as well. You just have to get yourself there. And I wanted to, should I say, before COVID, try and create an environment where like-minded people get together, whether it's a group of 6, a group of 12, 20, whatever. And it doesn't necessarily matter about age. They're all there for the same reason, and that's well-being. So I had people that booked on. I had an 18-year-old. I had a 72-year-old man who'd done Ironmans previously, who was with his wife, who was also still doing running at 60. They were coming all the way from Newcastle. Then I had an ex-footballer who's played for Peterborough. He was coming with his son up from Essex. And that literally everybody getting together for the same reasons.
That's a great idea. To be fair, mate, I'll be honest. I looked at things like probably about 3-4 years ago, and I was a bit naive. Like, why would you pay X amount of money? You're not going to lose any weight in 4 days. But like you say, it's not about going there and getting the most weight loss in 4 days. It's about coming out in a better headspace and a bit of understanding and knowledge as well. Like, for example, you're going to teach them how to do X, Y, and Z that will stay with them long term. So it's not about, like you say, 4 days, how much weight can you lose? It's about using fitness as an escape from your current settings, getting away and doing something. And I think it's an amazing idea, mate, and something I'd be keen to jump on at some point. Hopefully we can get there running.
You've got the people that will say, well, if you've got that money to do that, you can go on holiday, you can go abroad for that amount of money, or you could go do this. Yeah, well then that's your escape. That's what you want to do. But I'm obviously branching into the people that love to do these little challenges, these little trials. So sometimes it will be more of a mental health retreat, really chilled. I've got a masseuse on board, and yoga, Pilates, that kind of thing. But then I've also got an extreme one, which is climbing mountains up in Scotland, doing treks. So you're trying to branch out to so many different types of groups of people. So when you scroll in, once the website's finished, once you scroll in, you choose kind of what challenge you're looking for, what kind of retreat you're looking for. You'll click the link, so it'll give you examples based on that. Obviously, my Rutland one would have been more of a chilled out one. You've seen the environment there. But yeah, I'm just trying to broaden my horizons for different types of people. And even if it is the same goal, which is that mental health, well-being, that escape, there's different ways that people get that.
Amazing. And that obviously moves us on quite nicely, because I know you're a big advocate of the mental health side within fitness, and you've joined like a bit of a community and stuff now with it. Is it to do with football as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Football Flow, run by two ex-professionals, Dominic and Dean. Dean Hooper used to play for Peterborough United. It's more a case of communicating with footballers. They don't open up. They don't, male or female. They always seem to use football as an escape, which is what I did. But it's more a case of how COVID's necessarily affected them. How obviously football is people's livelihoods, and without that, even the fans. If you speak to, say, randomly, a guy called Derek, who's 60 years old, who's lost his wife, and all he did was go to football on Saturday. Who's he got to talk to? Like, who's he got to communicate with when all he did was go and see his mates, eat a pie, watch the football? Like, it's about trying to use football to communicate with clubs, of knowing how their well-being is. If players have got an injury, how they're coping with that. If they've been released young. Have you seen the little Peterborough lad, 19 years old, Coppin, his name is? He's up to retire at 19.
Yeah.
So obviously, people like him, he's just had his world shattered, and it's keep making sure that his mental health is right, because in the limelight or not, most people are starting to open up more these last few years, but people don't talk, people don't open up.
No, I completely agree. And do you think, my only perception of that what it could be is the backlash if you're in the public eye, and as terrible as it is, you just know that, obviously touching on another subject, but they talk about like players coming out and stuff like that of being gay.
Yeah.
They do it at the end of their career because they feel like it's just a dagger point straight away for fans and other players, that if they know they're either gay or they've got like mental health issues, they're going to use that to kind of push on them. So is that something you're pushing to kind of help them deal with things, or is it a case of like you say, talking out?
It is just a case of communicating and opening up. Like, we've seen over the last couple of years how much mental health is the biggest killer of men under the age of 40, and how even down to one of the guys himself, like trying to take his own life a couple of years ago. Things just get too much and they don't open up. So it's providing a hub and providing even down to anonymity. So you don't even have to say who you are and know who you're speaking to, but just a little hub, or they've created an app called WhatsApp rather than obviously WhatsApp, so that you can then communicate to a person who's dedicated to Football Flow. You don't even have to say who you are. Similar to Samaritans, if you like, but for football people. That's who this persona is, of trying to be strong, and they don't feel like they can open up to their friends or their family.
Yeah, I think I've seen that a lot, and it's good to see that a lot of things like that's happening as well, because the main one I see is kids getting released at like 18, 19, and then kind of feeling like you say, the whole world shattered. And it's a case of what the hell do I do now? And I think things like what you're a part of is helping them realize that, you know, football isn't everything, or there's an opportunity to go somewhere else within the game. And it's not kind of like the end of your world. So you feel like you're at that tether where, you know, you're having bad thoughts.
Definitely, totally agree. And that's one of the main things that they're looking at, is those going into academies, going into non-league clubs. And like I was saying about before about non-league, of the pressures of non-league, of trying to perform well, but at the same time, still trying to earn a living through their daily jobs, how they juggle everything, how they still have dedicate time to family life. Because I know players that have got families, who've got kids, but they're still, you know, training twice, 3 times a week, playing away in the UK twice a week, still having a job as well. It's not the lifestyle of a footballer that everybody seems. And they're only getting a couple of £100. Do you know what I mean? To do it. Yeah. It's not about the money. It's about that escape, the gap between professional and non-league and just Sunday league, like when you do it with your mates. It's vast. It's massive, and it's so difficult.
Definitely. I love the stories when you see in the FA Cup, like big teams go into like non-league clubs.
Oh,
and I think it's good that they do it, like BT and Sky. They spend a lot of time with that club to understand, you know, this guy's a binman and this is his day-to-day life.
Look at Maine against Spurs.
Exactly. Yeah, things like that. I love watching it because it kind of brings it back home, like, and it's hopefully a little bit of a reality check to the guys that are playing at Spurs and stuff, that they see that they're playing against people that, you know, have got a job to go to like the next day, or they might shift this morning and then playing Spurs at like 3 p.m. Do you know what I mean? It's just
it's mad.
It's a bit of a reality check, isn't it?
Definitely.
So for yourself now then, like future plans, now we've got a bit of an idea, whether this is going to happen or not, I don't know, but we've got a bit of an idea of as to where potentially this year is going to go. Do you think the online stuff will be something you'll continue, or do you think when you can get back on the gym, that'll be kind of back your way, or what's the idea?
Yeah, I think I am going to continue. Like, I think there's a niche there for people that are going to stick with their busy lifestyles. I know for a fact that some of them are not going back to their new jobs the whole of this year. They're going to still work from home, so they're going to still need. And some people I know, my clients, are not necessarily going to be comfortable going back to a gym this year. And that's, again, totally everybody's down to their own opinion. But as long as I can help them in some way, I will. But it's knowing where I'm going to be, especially gym wise. Obviously, Vivacity as a charity ceased to exist during COVID, so they got taken over by the council. The rent system there ended up changing a little bit. They put the rent up by 20%. Like, it was a bit messy, but I'm looking at other options in terms of a gym environment to be. I'm even considering Fusion in Stamford to BT from there, which you know is a great gym as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, I want to try and not just, obviously I was just based in a gym before. So now I feel as if even though it's been difficult, I have grown in this last year of knowing that there are so many other opportunities through, like you say, through branding, through merchandise, through online, through competitions, through podcasts, through anything. There's always opportunity to get what you want to do out there. It's just learning about it, and obviously technology-wise, I'm rubbish, so it helps with the learning process.
I outsource all of that kind of thing because I ain't got a clue what I'm doing. But I completely agree with you. Like, for me, obviously, you'd never wish COVID again on anyone or anything, but it's opened people's eyes to realize that there's other ways of working, and change isn't always a bad thing. So I'm in this predicament now where I've got a few opportunities to do different things, and it's kind of now it's a good problem to have, that you don't know the best way to move the business. Now, before you only knew one way, now you've got options. So I kind of like the fact that, yes, it's another 6 weeks before the gym's open and blah, 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 but it gives us a bit of a time frame to understand what's coming, if that makes sense, rather than before it was like, right, online or nothing. Now we've got, right, I've got 6 weeks to work out which is the best way to continue my business. And I do agree with you.
What do you think that's the route?
What's that, sorry?
And what do you think the route is that you're going to take?
Online has served me really, really well. But at the same time, my bread and butter was always my boot camps, face-to-face boot camp. And I think it would be wrong of me to not at least try for my boot camp members, because I'm not saying I'm like the holy grail, but I know that they rely on that boot camp for a lot of reasons: mental health, friendship,
100%.
stuff like that. And I just feel if I was to completely go business minded, I think online probably is my preference going forward as a business front, and to scale the business. But at the same time, my loyalty is with my OG members that have been with me from the start.
When you started, yeah.
Exactly. For me to just go, you know what, boot camp isn't making much money, I'll just sack it off. I just think that would be so wrong of me, and it doesn't sit right morally. So I think I'm going to go for a big push of getting the camps back. Summer's coming, maybe throw a little challenge out there, and see if we can get the buzz back for boot camps that way. Obviously, long term, I don't know. If it's not sustainable, then it's not. But I definitely feel that the right thing to do is definitely at least try. I'd rather try and fail than not try at all.
I think the outdoors, especially, like, people are going to be wanting to be outdoor rather than indoor in gyms, to be honest. Even when gyms open on the 12th, it's only face-to-face, one-to-one. So you're not allowed to do classes in the gym. So then there'll be no gym classes. So for me, outdoor boot camps is definitely the first place I'm going to be doing, especially around the Peterborough ones I was doing, similar to yours. And I think people want that. They want to be outside again, and they want to be able to incorporate and communicate with other humans rather than just through a screen. So definitely agree with you.
I agree. Like, yes, they all come for the fitness element, but it's also the social element. So many females and males have said that, as selfish as it is, their little 45 minutes on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday is their fitness escape, where they can have 45 minutes to themselves. They can get away from the kids, they can get away from the family, and just meet up with like-minded people. And whether they're only putting 50% into the workout, they're working out and they're getting some fresh air and they're socializing with people that are in the same sort of position. And that ultimately is very rewarding, more than financial sometimes.
Definitely. And seeing your growth as well, from obviously the days of when you were PTing with me in recruitment to then, like, I remember obviously the stuff you had, the issues you had with your job in terms of recruitment and the car situation.
Oh yeah.
And obviously that journey, and then knowing where you've got to, I think it's great, mate. I think you've done amazing.
Appreciate that, man. I do appreciate it. Yeah, that's a throwback, that, mate. For anyone that don't know,
2016.
yeah, I got done for like speeding, just stupidly, like my own naivety. I thought the speed limit was something else, and got banned on the spot. And I worked like for a 30-minute drive. So same sort of thing as when you did your football. I was getting like trains and buses and taxis just to try continue to get to work. So yeah, again, when I was in that headspace, using the gym was like my bit of escape. Like you say, is like
escape has been that word today, and that's what I wanted to get out of it.
No, 100%, mate. I completely agree. Right, we'll definitely catch up again. Obviously, we will catch up as friends, but we'll catch up again on the podcast. I think it'd be good to kind of get you back in, say, 6 months' time, once we're hopefully completely post-COVID,
and then see where we're at. Definitely, mate. I totally agree.
Appreciate you coming on, buddy. I'm excited to get this one out, and hopefully we'll get some good rapport from it.
Awesome. Cheers, Scott. Take care of yourself, mate.
Buddy. See you soon.
See you in a bit. Bye-bye.